20 motherfucking 22, smooth beat. Minutemen fucking media. Vibe with us. You know the vibes, baby. We taking it to the motherfucking top. You heard?
This is where it all started. In 1666, 12 Puritan families set out from the colony of Connecticut to find a site where they could establish a kingdom to celebrate their religion without persecution.
Newark was founded in 1666. It was first called Passaic Town, as it lay at the mouth of the mighty Passaic River, goes for some 80 miles, empties into Newark Bay, and it has a drainage area of about 935 square miles. This river has been the source of power of much of northern New Jersey, but specifically Paterson and Newark. Passaic is an Algonquin word meaning peaceful valley. Noting the crime in Newark of today, Passaic River Valley is anything but peaceful. In 1666, Puritans trying to escape religious persecution in Connecticut migrated to found a settlement called Passaic Town, later New Milford, but then becoming Newark, taking the name most likely from Newark-on-the-Trent in England. It is noted that the Reverend Abraham Pearson came to Newark in its early days from Newark-on-the-Trent. During the American Revolution, what is today's Military Park was a parade ground for the militia of Newark to train. Military Park was still used for training troops until after the Civil War. Washington Park is loaded with statues from renowned sculptors. In the early Republican period, starting in 1790, the city of Newark was noted for leather tanning, its jewelry, and especially shoe manufacturing. By the 1850s, it was the home to several breweries, as the water was so pure in Newark's reservoirs off Route 80. Valentine XXX Ale is a Newark beer. Pabst Blue Ribbon also had an early brewery providing its beer to the East Coast in Newark, which closed down in the 80s. Newark, once famous for its breweries, only has one left, the Anheuser-Busch Bud Light plant on the south end of Newark. Valentine XXX Ale was originally brewed by the Valentine family, whose exquisite Gilded Age townhouse remains and is a wing of the Newark Museum.
I believe the origin of that term, down neck, was because of the Passaic River by Penn Station that sort of curls around and looks like a neck. But of course the Ironbound, the moniker as I understand it, comes from the fact that there were a lot of, this area was very, very poor, and there were a lot of ink factories and forgeries and varnish factories, and also the railroad, of course.
In May, they landed on the banks of the Passaic River and met the Lenape Indians. The Indians were friendly, the river full of life, and the land fertile. This is where they would establish their town on the Passaic.
This large city with a great harbor drew the likes of Seth Boyden, Thomas Edison, Edward Weston, and the Reverend Hannibal Goodwin, who all created inventions that would build our modern world. Seth Boyden is credited with patent leather, which you use in baseball gloves, straps, bags, etc. He also produced the first malleable cast iron, even engineered a larger version of the strawberry grown here in Jersey. The Reverend Goodwin patented a flexible film for motion pictures. Thomas Edison began the movie industry in Greater Newark and its suburb of West Orange.
I don't know, where's that? Never mind. I got it.
Newark, or Newark as it's pronounced in the dialect, in the early 1900s, the Four Corners, which comprises of Market and Broad Streets, was the third busiest intersection in the whole of the United States. Revolutionary statesman and eventual vice president Aaron Burr was made of Newark. Newark, also known as the Bricks, is a hotbed of music, from gospel, R&B, hip-hop, pop music, metal, rock and roll. There are famous musicians that come from Newark or the greater Newark area. Among these is arguably the greatest American singer of all time, the incomparable Whitney Houston. But other singers, like Dionne Warwick, also hail from Newark. Hip-hop artists like Redman, Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah, Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, and actors like Fred Amos and Jason Alexander come from Newark. Several-time NBA champion Shaquille O'Neal also comes from Newark, as well as Division I college team Seton Hall has part of its campus in Ivy Hill, Newark, as well as a downtown campus for the School of Law. Seton Hall University has a renowned basketball program that has put 25 of its players into the National Basketball Association, as well as countless others to other leagues around the world. The school also has an exceptional baseball program from which Seton Hall derives its mascot's name, the Pirates. As a newspaper headline read, Seton Hall Pirates win from Notre Dame. The baseball program has sent 30 players into the MLB, including all-stars like John Valentin, Danny Combs, Craig Biggio, Rick Cerrone, Matt Morris, Mo Vaughn, Kevin Morton, and Ted Lipsio. Also, some guy named T-Bone that the lying senator says he knows does not live in Newark.
Yes, you want to go for anything, if you want to go for degrees that are needed, anything of that nature that's actually needed right now, that's dictated by the Department of Education and the Department of Labor. Now, here's the other caveat. If you want to take a degree in something bullshit like Eastern women's gender studies, you pay a half point higher. Yes.
Newark Public Library, located just down the block from the Newark Museum, began construction in 1899 and was dedicated in 1901. It's built in the Gothic style of a Venetian palazzo. This library holds books and knowledge from all over the world, but also keeps a history of the city of Newark available to the public.
And so the amazing thing about walking down Ferry Street is that we see the variety, the waves of influences of various ethnic groups. And as I pointed out to you, there are many churches in the Ironbound, and when I was growing up, we identified churches not by their names, but by their ethnicity. There was the Irish church, there was the Spanish church, there was ultimately Our Lady of Fatima, the Portuguese church.
In the 1920s, Newark started to build high-rises and skyscrapers. As the port is linked with its twin city, Elizabeth, it is one of the biggest ports on the East Coast, and offices were needed to coordinate the trade. That said, Newark office space is allotted as a contingency to open the New York Stock Exchange and the markets if by disaster or some other occurrence that Wall Street would have to be shut down. The great city of Newark stands as the backup location.
Without a doubt, Ferry Street is the main artery of the Ironbound, and it's along this street, which is also known as Portugal Avenue, that you see the enormous presence of now both Portuguese-speaking, whether Brazilian or Portuguese, and Spanish-speaking populations. As we walk down Ferry Street, though, we saw evidence, in fact, of prior waves of immigration, Polish, German, and right off of Ferry Street on Jefferson, when we saw the Portuguese church, Our Lady of Fatima, we also saw the parish center, which, as I pointed out, was a synagogue originally, because most of the merchants on Ferry Street, which was originally known as Plank Road, were German Jews.
Down with dope and up with hope. Nearly 2,000 young angry voices crying out against crack, the deadly drug that some say is killing their already sick neighborhood. The march, billed as a funeral for crack, complete with a hearse, was organized by the International Youth Organization. Director James Wallace says the situation is desperate.
We found out even our young kids from the age of 7 up are using it. So when it starts going that far down, it's very dangerous.
Just talking with some of the kids, it's not hard to understand Wallace's concern. Do you know any kids who take it?
Plenty.
Do you use it?
Never. Got too much to live for.
Tried crack twice. Made you feel good?
At first,
What is the downside like when you come down?
you feel depressed, like you got to get another hit. You got to.
A lot of kids getting killed, selling it.
How old are the kids who are selling it?
14, 10, 15.
Police say kids pushing crack is a common method used by dealers. If the kids are caught, they're charged as juveniles, serving little or no time in custody. Some residents say drugs in one form or another are commonplace around here. What kind of drug do you use?
I smoke reefer.
You don't think that's harmful?
Not as bad as crack is.
One of the aims of the march was to get more adults involved in cleaning up the drug problem, but most just let the parade pass them by, some with a sense of helplessness.
They all over the place fighting for the turf. Who's gonna sell here and who's not gonna sell here and stuff. It's terrible. It really is.
So people who can't move just have to stay here and take it?
That's right. And I'm one of them that can't move.
The march ended at a nearby schoolyard with political, community, and religious leaders continuing their attack on crack. While few here will deny that the march and rally served to draw attention to a very serious crack problem, most, if not all, would agree that the death of crack here in Newark, even symbolically, is greatly exaggerated. For the Independent News, I'm Frank Casey in Newark.